Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to go over a lot of the course policies for EN 300 and provide an overview of the class, hopefully answer some basic questions about how to kind of approach our online course. So first off, this is EN 300. I am Dr. Jeffrey Way. I will be your instructor for the semester. And I am available in my office on campus, Morgan Hall 133. My office hours this semester are Wednesday and Friday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. But if that time doesn't work for you, I am more than glad to set up an appointment. Just let me know. I'm also glad to set up appointments out of those or not on campus. So if you want to set up a video chat or if you're not around campus, we can do that too. So that is an option as well. So but yeah, so this is EN 300. You'll notice online that there are two sections that I'm teaching. And so you should either be in section VC or VD. And so you'll notice that there are both courses are in the same D2L shell, and there's a lot of kind of shared information and things like that. So now I want to kind of go through some of the highlights of the syllabus. I'm not going to go over the whole document. Part of your assignment for the first day of class is to go over the syllabus and look through the policies and take a short quiz, but kind of want to touch on some key things. So first off, like I said, I've got those office hours. Hands down, the best way to get a hold of me is via email. So it's jeff.way@washburn.edu. And during the week, I will respond to you within 24 hours. On the weekend, it might be a little bit longer, but I usually try to make sure that if you send me an email with a question or an issue, I get back to you as soon as possible. So, and just a heads up that is definitely the best way to contact me because while I'm on campus on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I am a lot of times teaching or in meetings or something else if I'm not in my office. So if you call and leave a voicemail, I may not get it for a while. And for example, if you call late Friday afternoon, I may not get it until Monday. So emailing me is the best way to get a hold of me. So now EN 300 is the course is called Advanced College Writing. So you'll notice that obviously we are about a lot of writing and a lot of thinking about what it means to write arguments, to work with research, to make arguments in context. And you'll notice that the course kind of builds up towards a scholarly argument where you're writing for an audience in your field. So there's a lot of work that we're going to do throughout the semester that is focused on both building or creating arguments and thinking about how to use research effectively in your own writing. So that's where a lot of our efforts and a lot of our focus are. So you'll notice that on the syllabus, you'll see the course outcomes and things like that. And you can go a little bit more over that on your own to kind of get a sense of what the specific guidelines are. There is one textbook that I ask that you get for the course, which I think I have right here. And I do not. And it's right here. Yes, sorry. My apologies. So it's right here. It's Everything's an Argument 7th edition. You'll notice this is the brief version. So it's a smaller book. It doesn't include readings. There's a longer version with readings that has the same chapters and everything, but it also has extra readings and it costs a little bit more. So that's why I have you get the brief version. You can get it at the bookstore. You can get it through Amazon. Obviously, I'm fine if you get a digital copy of the textbook. If you rent it, whatever works for you, feel free to do that. So the ISBN is on the syllabus as well. So, but you do need to work on getting that as soon as possible because starting next week, you will have assignments that require you to be looking at the textbook. So get a hold of that as soon as you can. If you have any trouble getting a hold of a copy of the textbook, please let me know as soon as possible, and we'll see what we can do. Beyond that, obviously, because this is an online course, you need access to a couple key things. You need to have a copy of Microsoft Word, which you have access to Microsoft Office 365 through Washburn for free, and you can download Office and install it on your computer, so that gives you access to Microsoft Word. You also need internet access regularly. You should be getting on D2L regularly during the week. Keeping up with your work, and you should be both checking your email and D2L daily during the week. If I need to get hold of you individually, I will send you an email, and I do expect, much like I will respond to you within 24 hours during the week, I expect you to do the same. So if I send a question, I shouldn't be having to send 5 follow-up emails. If you use another email account as your main email account besides your Washburn, you can set up your Washburn email to forward to that, but make sure you have access to your email and you're checking it regularly. Obviously, because it's online class too, you need to have access to a computer with an internet connection regularly. You will have things that are due on deadlines. So it's important that if you're going to succeed in this class, you have access to a computer to do so. The course methodology section on the syllabus kind of goes over the different types of assignments that you'll encounter in the class. And again, that's just something you'll look over a little bit more. Then from there, you'll notice that there's a grade breakdown on the syllabus. And so this is kind of the overall categories. And so there are several different categories. The first one is discussions, peer reviews, and work days. So those are kind of a combination of smaller discussion activities, peer reviews that you'll do with each paper, and then smaller work days where you'll just be submitting evidence of progress and things like that. So, and that you'll notice that the whole course is kind of broken down out of 600 points. So that first category is 95 points, which is 16% of the grade. There are also 6 learning activities spread out throughout our 3 units to go with the 3 writing projects. These are more detailed activities that build on some of the concepts you're working with and ask you to apply them to a particular reading or set of readings. So those are 15% of your grade and 90 points total. And then you'll notice the big portions of your grade are the 3 major writing projects: the rhetorical analysis, the community-based argument, and the scholarly argument. And you'll see the breakdown there. The rhetorical analysis is 100 points of your grade. The community-based argument is 115 points of your grade, and the scholarly argument is 125 points of your grade. There's also a final portfolio that you'll submit at the end of the semester that is both a collection of the work you've been doing throughout the course, as well as evidence of revision and work on at least one of your major writing projects. So that's something we'll get into more towards the end of the semester, but that is something you will be submitting. And that final portfolio is 50 points. And then beyond that, the only other category is I ask at the end of each unit and at the beginning of the course, you spend a little bit of time reflecting on the work you've done in the past, the work you're doing now. And so all that adds up to another 25 points. So you can see the whole grading breakdown at 600 points total. The categories are broken down by percentage too. Under that, you'll see a chart that's a point breakdown about where you will fall on the scale between 600 and 0 and how many points are at each grade level. Notice that chart is broken down in plus minus, which is how I grade assignments in the course, but as Washburn always does, the final course grades are calculated as whole letter grades. Beyond that, you'll see next is the schedule. I'm not going to go over that, obviously, but you can see a breakdown of the individual assignments, the dates, when things are due, that kind of stuff throughout the entire course. You can kind of get a good sense. You'll notice really, for the most part, everything in this class is due either on Tuesday or Thursday night. Given that it's an online class, I usually have a flat deadline of 11:59 p.m. that night for anything to be submitted. So you'll basically be on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. Now, as I mentioned, there are days built in where there are work days that you're actually working on your major writing projects. And so really on those days, you're just submitting progress of your work. So not every Tuesday and Thursday, you're necessarily doing a new assignment. And there's a lot of time built in to work on the papers, do the peer reviews, that kind of stuff too. So, but do be aware that that's how the course is going to basically operate. From there, in the syllabus, you'll see the technology requirement. That's just kind of going over what you need to access D2L. Under that, virtual classroom requirement. So if you haven't used Zoom before, Zoom is a free video chat app. It's much like Skype. The nice thing is that you can just click a link, and if you're on your phone or a tablet or your computer, it will open up a video chat. And if we can't meet face-to-face on campus, I'm glad to use Zoom. It's the easiest way. And I have a kind of a standing meeting room, and you'll notice that link there, the Zoom link in the syllabus, which is also available on the course site on D2L, is the best way to, you can just open that and we will have a meeting. Do just let me know beforehand. I'm not obviously kind of always hanging out in that Zoom chat room waiting, but anytime you set up an appointment to meet with me, I'm glad to sit down and talk. So then there's information about if you're having tech troubles, definitely talk with ITS. Usually there's some things I can figure out, but a lot of times I'm not totally sure, and you need to get in touch with them, and online education support. So there are resources there if you're having trouble with the technology. So just a heads up there. Now, for your expectations of me, so obviously, like I said, I'm here to help you succeed. Because this is an online course, we don't meet face to face. I try to make myself as available as possible. So please, if you have questions, let me know. Email me. I am glad to set up a time to meet, either face to face or via video to chat, to help on a draft of a paper, whatever you need. If you have questions about a grade, about feedback, an assignment, you're not totally sure, please let me know. If they're general questions too, there is an open discussion board on D2L that's just kind of general questions. So please feel free to post questions there as well. The odds are that if you have a question about something, you're probably not the only person, and I'm glad to help out however I can. So like I said earlier, usually during the week, I'll try to respond within 24 hours, if not sooner. It just depends when I see your email. On the weekend, it'll be a little bit longer. There will be a couple weekends this semester where I am out of town. I'll give you a heads up on D2L when that'll be, just in case, because on those weekends, it might be a little bit longer for me to get back to you in those windows. So, but I will let you know for sure. But usually during the week, I'll get back to you definitely within 24 hours, if not sooner. Most things should be available on D2L. They should be open. If at any point, and they're on a schedule, but if at any point you are looking for something and you can't find it and it isn't open on D2L like it should be, please let me know. I'll go in and check and fix it. That does happen occasionally. Hopefully it won't, but D2L did just have a recent update over the summer, so things are a little bit different. So, but almost everything should be up there on D2L. And then in terms of grading stuff, so the minor assignments, learning activities, things like that, I will definitely have those back to you within 2 weeks. Usually those get back to you within a week, if not sooner. The major writing projects may just take a little bit longer, just because of the extent of grading your longer papers. And just a heads up too. So when I grade your writing projects, you will get 2 sets of feedback. So the first will be a rubric on D2L that's kind of a more general breakdown of the categories and elements that you have that you'll see on the assignment sheets. You'll get that feedback. And then you will also get an audio recording from me as well. So that's usually somewhere between a 5 to 10 minute audio clip where I provide more detailed feedback about your paper. And be able to kind of talk about the ways you might think about revising if you choose to do so for the final portfolio. So, so just a heads up there on that. We shouldn't have to make any changes to the schedule, but if we do at any point, I will let you know. I will inform you on D2L. I will update the necessary materials. But usually there shouldn't be an issue there. Now, in terms of my expectations of you, so obviously with all classes, you need to be online, you need to be doing things, you need to be keeping up with the work. And for an online course like this, your attendance is calculated by your submitting assignments on time. So it doesn't count just to have logged on to D2L, but you need to actually be there engaged in submitting assignments. So each day you don't submit an assignment does count as an absence. If I see multiple absences, if I see you get 2 or 3 absences pretty quickly, I'll usually send you an email and let you know and give you a heads up. After 4 absences, after basically missing the equivalent of 2 weeks of class, we will talk about whether you stay in the course or whether you need to withdraw, because at that point you're missing a significant amount of work. Other than that, if you have something come up, in your personal life, please, you have to let me know. Let's just be clear here. In an online course, I have no idea what's going on in your life. So if you disappear for 2 weeks and then come back and say this horrible thing happened, and that's awful, but we can't do anything about it. So you need to be communicating with me as much as possible. So if something does come up, we will try to work around it. I do always try to be flexible in terms of life happening, but you have to talk to me, let me know. Other than that, you will be at several points, especially in peer reviews, providing feedback to classmates. So in online spaces, in chats and activities, you should always act professionally. Remember that you are classmates. It doesn't mean we always have to agree with one another, but you should always respect your classmates. Think about offering good critical feedback, things like that. And you need to be here doing things, especially when we get to activities like peer reviews. You have to be doing them by the deadlines they're due, so your classmates then have your feedback that they're available to use as they revise their papers and things like that. So Everything online should be available. If I found it from somewhere else, you'll notice there are several YouTube videos and resources. You'll usually have a link and a citation, just so you know it's not mine directly, but all that stuff is out there. In terms of late assignments and late work, that is one thing I want to touch on. So, like I mentioned, your attendance is tied to your doing your work on time. So if you don't turn an assignment in by the deadline, that does count as an absence, but you still have the opportunity to turn in work late. So for minor assignments, such as learning activities, things like that, the drop boxes will remain open for 24 hours after the original deadline. So if something's due Tuesday night, you have all day Wednesday to complete it, turn it in. You will get partial credit for it. You won't get full credit at that point, but you still have the opportunity to turn that work in. However, after that Wednesday or after that 24-hour deadline, the Dropbox will close, and then you will just automatically get a 0 on that assignment. Now, in terms of the major writing projects, your big papers, you have to turn in all of those in order to pass the class. So those drop boxes always stay open. Now, for every calendar day a assignment is submitted late, that's going to be half of a letter grade. So 5 points off your paper grade will be docked before I ever start grading the paper. So if it's due on Thursday and I don't get it till Saturday, that's 10 points off the top before I grade your paper. So and again, with as I mentioned with attendance, if you have something come up that you think you're not going to be able to hit a deadline, you're going to have some sort of issue with getting a paper submitted on time, please let me know. Like I said, if there's a good reason and you give me enough notice, we can usually figure out some sort of arrangement. And as it says in the syllabus, I ask that you try to contact me at least 5 days before the deadline if you're going to ask for some sort of extension. That is an option there. If I don't hear from you, if you don't ask for an extension and you submit something after that 24-hour period, that will be the point where you'll start seeing those penalties come in. So if you have any questions about that policy, please let me know. One other heads up too, with each of the major writing projects, you will have several pieces of process work. So you'll turn in, for everyone, you'll turn in, for example, a topic paragraph, and then you won't be able to submit the next part of the assignment until you have gotten my feedback on that last part. So if you don't ever turn in a topic paragraph for the rhetorical analysis, let's say, then you won't be able to submit your rhetorical analysis full draft. The Dropbox will not open until you've gotten my feedback on the previous part of the assignment. So a heads up there that there are things that are process-based, and you'll be notified on D2L. Other than that, since this is a writing course, obviously you will be doing a lot of your own work. You will be bringing in outside sources. You need to cite them effectively, but you shouldn't be passing off the work of others as your own. So you don't want to plagiarize. You want to make sure you cite your sources. You're using them to support your claims. Any instances of plagiarism, academic dishonesty, passing the work of others off as your own will at the very least result in you failing the assignment, and we'll then talk about your status in the class. It can, given the level of how severe your academic dishonesty is, it can result in you failing the course or even being going through the school system and being punished for academic dishonesty by the university. So don't plagiarize, don't be academically dishonest. It won't be an issue. Like I said, if you have questions, if you're not sure, please let me know. Glad to help out however I can. And you'll see plagiarism is right under that on the syllabus too. Just kind of, if you have questions, if you're not sure, let me know. From there is a breakdown of the different things. I've already talked about a little bit the online discussions, learning activities, things like that. Just briefly, I want to talk about the 3 writing projects a little bit more. You'll notice that there are each unit is built around a different project. So the first one is the rhetorical analysis. The second one is the community-based argument. And the third one is the scholarly argument. And you'll see the descriptions there. And in a separate video for each one, I'll go over and introduce each assignment in more depth. There are always assignment sheets available as well as rubrics for each paper as well. You will find at one point in the unit, there's usually a sample paper that you can look at as well as an organizational guide. So there are lots of resources for each project. But a note again here that you need to submit all 3 major writing projects in order to pass the course. So that means that even if you get an A on the rhetorical analysis and an A on the community-based argument, think you're good, and you never submit the scholarly argument, you're automatically going to fail the class because you didn't submit one of the major writing projects. So keep that in mind. Like I also mentioned, you will have a final portfolio that will include clean copies of each of your major writing projects throughout the semester, at least one of which has been revised, as well as a reflective cover letter that looks back on your work and your progress throughout the course. And just a note here, too, that you have to revise at least one of your 3 papers for the final portfolio, but you have the option to revise all 3 of them if you choose. And for each paper that you revise for the final portfolio, based on the quality revisions, you can potentially boost up the grade on the final paper. So let's say you get a B- on the rhetorical analysis and you're not happy about that. You can listen to my feedback. If you want, we can meet and talk more about what you need to do to work on revising the paper. And then you can submit that revised rhetorical analysis with your final portfolio. And not only will it contribute to the final portfolio grade, I'm evaluating that, but if it's quality instead of revisions, it can boost up that rhetorical analysis grade. So maybe you take a lot of my feedback, you make a lot of good revisions, maybe it boosts you up to a B+, or maybe even an A if you've really done a great job of revising the paper. So you have that option available for all 3 papers, and you will get feedback from me on all 3 of them. So keep that in mind. Now, I mentioned peer review a little bit. We will have 1 peer review for each major writing project. It is important. You will have one day we'll be submitting the full draft of your paper. And each peer review requires that you submit a full draft. So there's a word count that you'll be submitting the paper for. If it's a partial draft, if it's no draft, you won't be able to participate in the peer review activity. And then you'll be put in a group with a couple of your classmates, and you'll have a set of questions that you'll be answering and offering feedback on the paper. So ideally, each person will have at least 2 sets of feedback on each paper that you will then be able to take that feedback, revise the paper before you have to submit it before the deadline. Now, peer reviews have to be, so drafts have to be submitted on time, peer reviews have to be submitted on time. So you're able to get your feedback and give your classmates their feedback, so they'll have plenty of time to take that and incorporate it into the revision process. So as with everything else, when we get closer to peer reviews, there will be more instructions on D2L, and I'll address those a little bit more, but be aware that those will come up. And then I already mentioned there's a couple of reflection assignments. At the end of the first and second unit, I do ask you to submit a reflection assignment. These are the only assignments that are not due on Tuesday or Thursday. I believe they're both due on Fridays. It's just one day after the final draft of each writing project is due for that unit. So just a heads up there. And then I already went over the portfolio. You can see a little bit more information about that in the syllabus as well. And then from there, you'll notice the course policies, the additions to the syllabus online on D2L. You can, of course, see the Washburn Master Syllabus editions as well, which go over some other things. So that's really kind of the overall breakdown of the class. Like I said, I am here to help you out however I can. So please let me know. Send me an email. Stop by my office. I think beyond that, really just, I look forward every semester to seeing what you all write on. And as you'll notice, as you get a little bit more into each project, you'll have the opportunity to choose a topic of your own within the parameters of the assignment, because I think it's important that you all write on things you're interested in, instead of me giving you topics to write on. But if you encounter an assignment you have any questions about, please let me know. Please take advantage of that discussion board on D2L. Otherwise, I look forward to working with you all in the course and seeing what you all come up with throughout the semester. Thanks.